6. Jonathan said to the attendant who carried his weapons, "Come on, let's cross over to the garrison of these uncircumcised men. Perhaps the Lord will help us. Nothing can keep the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few." I find that a very interesting statement in God's word. Is God's word perhaps pointing us to Jesus and the disciples? Maybe. It's interesting to think about. We continue on the story. His armor bearer responded, "Do what is in your heart. Go ahead. I'm completely with you." I love that devotion of the armor bearer. "All right," Jonathan replied. "We'll cross over to the men and then let them see us. If they say, 'Wait until we reach you,' then we will stay where we are and not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come on up,' then we'll go up, because the Lord has handed them over to us. That will be our sign. They let themselves be seen by the Philistine garrison, and the Philistines said, 'Look, the Hebrews are coming out of the holes where they've been hiding.' The men of the garrison called to Jonathan and his armor bearer, 'Come on up, and we'll teach you a lesson.' Little did they know they were going to be taught the lesson. 'Follow me,' Jonathan told his armor bearer, 'for the Lord has handed them over to Israel.' Jonathan climbed up using his hands and feet with his armor bearer behind him. Jonathan cut them down, and his armor bearer followed and finished them off. In that first assault, Jonathan and his armor bearer struck down about 20 men and a half-acre of field." Pretty interesting story. This battle is fascinating, but we see the 4 steps they took to take that ground for the king. The first thing we see is that they were partners. They were partners in ministry to get a piece of land for the king. Jonathan did not fight this battle by himself. He brought his trusted friend, his trusted warrior friend, the armor bearer with him. And I think of the armor bearer often, and my first thought when I think of the armor bearer is a weak little guy holding the shield because he's not strong enough to fight. But in the biblical days, the armor bearer was a seasoned warrior. He was strong, he was buff, he was the type of guy that you would want on your team. And Jonathan, with his wisdom, brought this armor bearer on his team to partner with him to accomplish this goal. When we look at the life of Jesus, Jesus is God with flesh on. If you want to know what God is like, you have to look at Jesus. And Jesus, in his infinite wisdom and infinite knowledge and power, he did not do ministry alone. He built his life into 12 men and partnered with them in ministry. See, within Christianity, there's no such thing as Lone Ranger Christianity. We are not meant to do ministry alone. Now, if you've been coming to Rockbridge and watching Rockbridge and involved in the ministries of Rockbridge for months, if not years, if you've ever felt alone, I hate to say this and hear my heart on this, it's kind of your fault. Because here at Rockbridge, we have so many small groups for you to be a part of. Oh, Dean, you don't understand. I tried a small group and it didn't work out for me. Then try another one. Oh, I did. I tried a second group. It still didn't work. Then try another one. We weren't meant to go through this life alone. And if we want to be more like Jesus, we have to look at Jesus and follow his example. He did ministry with people. When God created this world in 6 days and rested on that 7th day, everything he made, he said it was good. Except there was one thing before the fall that wasn't good. It wasn't good for man to be alone. And therefore he created woman. Thank goodness. We need women. We weren't meant to go through this world alone. We're not an island. I was watching the movie Castaway the other night with my wife, Deborah. And if you've never seen the movie, spoiler alert, Tom Hanks crashes on a deserted island, and he's there for 4 years. Now, you introverts are probably like, oh, that sounds like heaven. No, it wasn't. Him being on that island for 4 years did him a lot of harm. If you go through life by yourself, it will not only have a negative impact spiritually, but it'll have a negative impact in your life socially, physically, mentally. Jesus had 12 disciples, and he had 3 guys, his inner circle, that he really did a lot of ministry with. As we think about taking ground for the King of Kings, we need to partner with somebody, a group, a body of believers, somebody to accomplish what God has called us to do. Here at Rockbridge, we talk a lot about membership and going all in. And we talk about next step cards all the time. And in our next step card, if you look at it, it'll say, become a member/partner. See, Rockbridge, we need you. We need you. And you need Rockbridge. What a great church to partner with in ministry.